Why is it so hard to actually say what I feel?
Just keep it together.
Don't be too much.
Somewhere along the way, you learned to hold it in, to soften your truth, to shape your voice, to be easier to love. But your body knows, your voice knows, and there's a place inside you where nothing is forced, where everything real gets to exist. This is that place. Welcome to G-Spot. Hi, honey. You are listening to G-Spot Podcast, and my name is Graciela Serena. I am your host. Today, it's getting a little vulnerable, y'all, a little personal for me, because I am going to talk about my relationship and how little shifts made a big difference. I'm also going to really open up to you about my anxious avoidant attachment and how that has really had an impact on my relationship, and kind of let you in a little bit on my process and what I have shifted. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want you to know that it's possible. Real time, real life. These tools that I'm using, I don't just talk about them just because. It's literally like I have practiced a lot of this, and I am so much happier because of it. And I want to share that with you. I want you to know that you don't have to stay in the neediness or the avoidance or the chaos. And you don't have to stay in a place where you are unhappy. So let's get into the episode. There have been big shifts in my relationship, but I can honestly say some of the small ones have made the most impact. My partner and I have been together for about a year and a half. Shout out Benjamin Wolf. And I want to let y'all know that I have talked to him about making this podcast, and it's mostly in my experience, but I just want to say that, definitely consent-based about talking about him right now. Thank you. If you're listening to this, which I know he is. So, we've been together for about a year and a half, a little over that. And I met him in the midst of me really letting go of that really chaotic relationship that I've been talking about. And through that, I was really focusing on, there was so much that I learned. There was so much work I was doing, but and you never really get to do the work until you're in the relationship, right? Relationships have a way of bringing these things out in us. And oh my gosh, this relationship has showed me how much the last relationship and the relationships before have really done a number on me. And not in a way that it's like, oh no, woe is me. Like, it's not like that. It's just like, I get to be aware of that now. I get to work with that now. And that's so beautiful that I don't have to stew in the chaos of what I was repeatedly doing, the patterns that I was repeatedly playing out. And I'm not in anymore. And that's even cooler. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how, as time went on in our relationship, after getting together, I started to notice that there was some disconnection happening. And I will not say that immediately I recognized what was happening, but I had a lot of fear of abandonment. I was really convinced that his need for space or like him going out of town was extremely personal and that he was never going to come back. That's how deep these wounds go. Like, logically, I know he just wants his space. And, you know, we all need space. We all like need to, have time to ourselves. And we all need to go out and do different things besides our relationship. And I really, as time went on, I was like, now I really need my space. And it's because I've really met myself and I'm not scared of being with myself, right? But before this, I wasn't really doing that. And so what was happening was I was taking it so personally. And my body, because of what I've been through, was literally telling me that there's a chance that he could never come back or he was going to leave and something was going to change his complete mind about this relationship and that he was going to come back and he was going to like shift it all. Yeah. So I know it sounds ridiculous or it sounds really resonant. Like logically, it's fine. Emotional body wise, the abandonment's so strong and real. I was having I was so reactive. I've said in the last episode, I can be a reactive person, and that's something that I've worked with. I was so reactive. I didn't even listen to him. I just went straight into fight mode. Why? Because I felt like I had to fight all my life. And I didn't see him. I saw other people. I saw exes. I saw my father. I saw, everyone but him. And I couldn't listen to him. I was reactive and I felt like I needed to take a stand. And, I think it's good to take a stand for things you believe in. Create your boundaries. Do your things. But I feel like I was really, I don't even know what I was taking a stand for sometimes. I was fighting. I was like needing constant reassurance. And that like that whole thing that like went around that's like, would you love me if I was a lamp? Would you love me if I was a fly? Like cute, all right? But honestly, a lot of anxious attachment is actually like seriously like, will you still love me in every facet of every being and any type of way, like because I need reassurance that you're like meshed with me. Oh my god, this is actually really funny to talk about. Oh yeah, I'm feeling very happy that that's not where I am anymore, but also like really like loving that girl. And also like here with you, if this is something that you go through, like there is another way. And it's okay. Like somewhere along the way, you didn't like feel that love was safe. And you felt like it could be ripped out at any point. And so reassurance is the way that you feel safety. But really, honestly, at the end of the day, the reassurance is empty. Because what you're really craving is reassurance for yourself. Yeah. I would like go into complete freeze. This can look many ways. Some people really like shut down and they can't talk, and some people just cry and cry. It's different for everyone. My freeze is like literally ice cold. I'm a really loving person, but once I get pushed to a certain point in my system, I mean, I've had multiple times where partners and friends have been like, where the fuck do you go? Like, I don't see, like, you're just ice cold, like an ice queen. But it's not cute. It's not. And I think some people, I think especially for women, like, we take pride in being able to like be ice cold and like just be rude, honestly. And I really want to like reframe that, because it's really, we really can like be strong and independent while also being soft and getting our point across. And yeah, like the ice cold is hurtful. It's hurtful. And I saw that so often when I went into those realms, like I was hurting him. And that also goes with the nervous system, right? Like I would get to a certain level where I was starting to disassociate, and my survival mechanism was to turn cold. And yeah, like now that I've worked with my nervous system enough, like I really don't have many moments like that, as much. It's all a process, but it's really like so much better. And I think that like the nervous system has a big thing to do with like that particular, the obviously the fight, flight, freeze, fawn. All of those, like when we go into those regularly, that means something's off with our nervous system, and we want to tend to that. And in sessions, that's a huge thing that we go over. It's a whole, like in the coming home package, that's a whole session where we go into the nervous system and we really like talk about it. And then we also do like embodiment practices that can really help us like ease the nervous system and bring us back to regulation. As time went on, I started feeling really disconnected. I noticed that we were not able to have a conversation, really like a deep conversation, without it exploding, without him shutting down. And he could not get through to me when I was like this. And once he shut down, I couldn't get through to him. And my anxiety just started peaking, and I honestly was really scared that we weren't going to make it for a while there. I was honestly looking for safety in him while also feeling like he was the enemy. The voices in my head, the stories in my head were that he's going to leave. Don't trust him, Graciela. Don't let him in, Graciela. He isn't safe. Everyone lets you down. Everyone lets you down. You have to fight. You have to fight. This was so strong. So strong. And some of it was my avoidance, right? I really I definitely have a lot of anxious attachment, but we all switch, right? And in this dynamic, I feel, and in every dynamic, I think it switches for people. In this dynamic, I feel there has been anxious and avoidant, very much this dance where I've really looked at so many mirrors in it and so many angles of it, and it's been a beautiful ride. But with this particular thing, it was these stories that he was the enemy. The reality is that I wasn't safe, and I didn't trust, but it had nothing to do with him and everything to do with me, because I did not feel safe within myself. And that sounds like a cliche, maybe, but it's so, so true. If I don't feel safe with myself, then I'm relying on somebody else to create that safety for me. If I don't trust myself, how the fuck am I supposed to trust somebody else? How? I know I seem really intense about that right now, but it is real, like down to my bones. If there's one thing that I can tell you, if you do not feel safe with yourself, you will try and find safety with other people. If you do not trust yourself, how are you supposed to trust other people? This is huge, huge. then you're just stuck searching when all you need is right here, right with you. Relationships, cherry on top. Yeah? So what it took for me to actually really like get out of these patterns, and it was hard, was him moving out, us taking a week-long break. And I went into deep reflection. And this honestly broke something for me. And as hard as it was, I see why it needed to happen. I really went inward during our week-long break. I started journaling. I went into deep breathwork ceremonies. I really sat with myself. I took baths and took care of myself. And I do want to say that baths aren't baths are great. Do that self-care. Do something luxurious for yourself. But actually coming home to yourself and self-care is not just baths and journaling. It is also meeting yourself, looking at yourself, doing mirror work, doing things that you're changing, you're shifting patterns. I mean, he cooked for me. And my story was that I never cooked. And so he just took care of me. He took care of me. I was like, oh, I'm a little princess. Take care of me. That week, I started cooking. I started learning how to cook. Now I cook all the time. I meal prep all the time. Sometimes there is a point where we get to choose. And this is what I chose. I chose myself. I could have gone back to addictions. I could have gone into depression, but instead I chose me. And I never looked back, to be honest. Granted, this happened fast for me, and this can happen in many different ways, but sometimes it is just that fast decision. I choose myself. Oh, he's going to go do his own thing. I'm going to be with myself. Oh, he hasn't texted me back. Cool. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm not going to wait around and wait for that text message. It takes quick decisions. That's literally how you can flip the script. And it also takes time to really come into it. In this time, I started to really see how I was really relying on him a lot. And I started to recognize the patterns in me. And I went deep into self-work. I started EMDR therapy. I started a program. I just really explored what was happening for me because I decided I was done. And so with that, I also saw my anxious attachment that was suffocating me, and probably him, to be honest, but it was really, I wasn't happy. I didn't want it anymore. And I didn't have to stay there. And I knew that. So I found a way that I could work with it. And I'm not saying that it all just vanishes, but sure does get less. You can't just get rid of triggers immediately, but it starts small and then you get expansive and your tolerance gets bigger. Your threshold gets bigger. I want to make a caveat here because I have been talking about myself and that's mostly what I want to do in this that's mostly what I want to do in this podcast, in this episode. But it takes two to tango. And my partner was very much in his avoidant dance, and that had a big factor in this. So when I tell you all the things that I've done to shift this, it is not to say you change it all and it'll all be okay, because it takes two, okay? If you're in a dynamic where they're avoidant and they're not willing to change, or they're playing out the patterns and you don't see any shifts, or abusive, get out of the abusive relationships. Been there, done that. I love you so, so much. And if you are struggling with that, there is support and you don't have to stay there. But aside from that, he did the work too. And he really rised up with me. As I was really rising up, he matched it. Like, I feel very grateful for my partner, to be honest, but I just wanted, the reason that I'm saying this is because there's always two sides to it, and I see my sides, and it's not my place to tell y'all all of his sides of what he's worked through and what he's gone through in order to make this relationship alive, but I want you to know that it can shift a lot for just you to shift your patterns, but it takes two. So make sure that if you're putting energy into somebody, friends, relationships, work, that it's reciprocated, because you deserve that. I'm going to share with you some small shifts I made. I really want you to know that this has really helped me. And relationships are hard. They are so hard. But you don't have to live in the patterning all the time. You can get out of it. And there's ways to shift. So I'm going to share some. Get curious. Don't just assume that your story is right. Get curious. What is he actually saying to you? What is she actually saying to you? What are they actually saying to you? We're going into the 4 agreements. Yeah, don't take things personally. Holy cow. Game changer. Game changer. This one's big. Sometimes it's not about us. A lot of times it's not about us. Even when it's within the relationship, like, you got all your shit and so does the other person. So trying not to take things personally is big. And you don't have to make everything mean something. I really struggle with this one. I'm like, oh my God, that one thing he said means this. And I have let myself reel on that over and over again. But let me tell you, like, the moment I check that and I'm just like, or if it's something that's like festering, I'll just say it to him in a really sweet, non-aggressive, not blamey way, and just be like, this is kind of coming up for me. Being real. Actually, listen. Don't sit there as they're talking, and just be like, all right, I know what to say after this. Okay, I'm going to remember this one. Yeah. All right. So yeah, let's not do that. Actually listen to what they have to say. Take a beat when you're dysregulated. This doesn't look like taking a beat and then stewing in the other room, like coming up with all the stories and all the ways that you're pissed. It means actually go use some nervous system tools to regulate, to downregulate, to release whatever you need to do in that moment. And if you don't know how to do that, I do help people with that in sessions. Allow support. Don't try to do everything on your own. If you're trying to do everything on your own, like, there is going to be built resentment with that. It's just like, we could go into that honestly, and we're not going to, but just, allow your partner to support you. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to do all of it. It's not all on you. Yeah, you're a team. Allow your friends to support you. Like, we're talking about relationships, but y'all, this goes so far into life in general. And also knowing who to be like this with. Yeah, like, don't give your energy to everybody. Not everybody does deserve it. For you, it's sacred. This kind of goes in with like allowing support and not doing everything. Like, if you're building resentment, have you asked for what you need? Yeah? Ask yourself, have you asked for what you need? Do they know anything about the resentment you're building? They're not mind readers, honey. They're not mind readers. You need to tell them what's going on. Be vulnerable. That's the next one. Be vulnerable. I need this. It's okay to ask for what you need. I need this, and I'm feeling this way, and I'm just really blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Take responsibility. Okay. Something that my favorite podcaster who I talked about in the last episode, Michelle Panning, does. She does it: clock it, own it, clean it up. And I love this because it's so true. If you yell at somebody, whatever, you say something, whatever it may be, you don't have to die on that cross. You can literally be like, okay, that actually wasn't fair, and I just need to breathe for a minute, or whatever it may be. You can own it and clean it up. And that's something that has really helped me, honestly. And the more I clean up, the more I'm able to like come back and actually just not do it as much in the future. You know, check myself before. It gets shorter and shorter. I check myself to where like my reactive time is way less, yeah? And this is for all my avoidant baddies out there. If you are feeling really good in the relationship and then you find yourself like, oh, I don't know about this, or yeah, that other person over there looks really shiny, or you want to cause a fight, you want to stir it up a little bit, check that. Okay? Sometimes that healthiness can feel like a lot if you're not used to it. I also want to say, like, it's okay to feel these things. And I just want you to check in with yourself on what's actually genuine and what is like other parts just trying to rule you. Where is your chaos wanting to come in? Where is your like fear of love wanting to come in? Blah, blah, blah. By doing these practices, this created more trust, more honesty, more safety for the both of us. Like, he actually feels like he can come to me about things without me blowing the frick up. And I feel like I feel safe now that he has really anchored in here. And I have done the same, because let me tell you, this is for another episode, but there was an avoidant dance happening as well for both of us. And that's a whole nother podcast in itself, to be honest. But creating that safety creates connection and ability to communicate in a efficient, effective way. There's less reactivity now for me, and honestly for him too. And lots of more peace and ease. I feel like a team. I feel like I still have little things come up. I'm not perfect. I'm human just like you. Oh my goodness. It's still a work in progress. But it's really exciting when I can feel like, oh man, this didn't hit me as hard, or oh man, I'm not reeling about this, or wow, no, I really trust that it is all good, because you know what? I trust me. I trust I will be okay no matter what. There's power in that. I feel like this episode has gone pretty long, but I want you to know that the other side is juicy. And yes, it takes work, but it's worth it. And I think secure love is something that, you know, we all really want to obtain, but sometimes just don't know how. And I want to shout out to Benjamin Wolf, because yeah, he really has done so much work, and he has really chosen to evolve with me. But I also want to shout out to all the masculine out there that's doing the work, and all the feminine, and all of the beings that are ready to get rid of these stories and these patterns and this way of being that is no longer serving, and that is actually creating safety in the collective. And if you are listening to this and you're like, I don't even know where to begin, It's okay. Just by listening to this, you already have begun. And if you have any questions, if you're curious about the work, if you're curious about just what I have just said, DM me, comment, share this podcast if it resonated. Like, there are resources, there are resources out there, and you deserve to be the best you. Let's take that in real quick. You deserve to be the best you. And as I said, you're already here. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. Thank you for diving deep into the shifts that I have made for my relationship and how it has helped. And I hope that it has helped you. And I'll see you soon.
Thank you for listening to G Spot, where your truth turns you on. This isn't just something you listen to, it's something you live. So take what landed here and bring it into your next conversation, your next boundary, your next moment of truth. If you're walking this path and want to go deeper, find me on Instagram at Graciela Serena Music. You can find more information on how to work with me below in the show notes. And if this resonated, let it travel. Share, comment. I would love to hear from you. But most of all, remember, your truth isn't too much. Your voice isn't the problem. Stay there, in that place where it's real. I'll see you next time.